And hello. Welcome back to the Makers Making Podcast, episode number 10, I do believe it is. Light staff tonight. Seems like everybody had last minute emergencies, but that's okay. Jeff, how's it going? Vince, Mike, um, we're here. Oh, we've got another one. I am Projects and Dad's Garage, Alex. And to my right, your left, whatever, next to me. Go ahead.
Hi. So I'm Canrog Creations. I make videos about me doing stuff with printers and computers and other things. Yeah, that's about it. And then that guy.
You got it easy. You got just one direction to point.
Hello,
Cheater.
I'm Maker Millwright from the Free Heathen Workshop. I'm a Twitch live streamer, content creator, and 3D print kind of guy. I do CNC, laser, and milling. I design 3D models in Tinkercad, and I do everything my best to build communities.
Hey man, it's good to see you, man. We've missed you.
I appreciate you.
For those that don't know, Maker Millwright Free Heathen Workshop is on Twitch, and he was MIA for what, about a week or so?
About a week, yeah.
Yeah. So good to have you back. Also, we're going to do it a little bit different tonight. There is a link posted in chat. I will pin it for right now. Maybe I'll pin it. There we go. YouTube's being a pain in the butt. But if you would like to come on and join us for tonight's episode and chat with us, click that link, follow through, and come on and join us. Fair warning, if anybody joins that's like too terribly new that I'm not familiar with, just for safety, because it is a live stream, we're gonna vet you behind the scenes before that happens. But everybody in chat so far I know. So anyway, tonight we're going to talk a little bit about news. Centauri Carbon 2, aka Centauri Carbon 1 with the AMS system that you were supposed to give us for the one that we have, was released. Saw somebody in the Discord today actually post up a picture that they got theirs in the mail today. So, have you guys looked at that?
No, I I have to admit that I really don't keep up with all the latest gadgets. Um, I try not to on purpose, just because of content. So I don't watch other content creators that much. If it's something that I'm really interested in, yeah, but I try to stay away just to have a fresh set of eyes on anything.
Yeah. Um, I will watch it a little bit if it's something that I'm not. Two things. One, if it's something that I plan on buying at some point and I'm on the fence about, and I'm like, I really would like to see some more information on this. Or two, if it's something that I never plan on doing. But if it's somebody working on building a product, uh, project or something like that that I plan on doing myself, I like to come into that fresh without any sort of biases from other creators. I did the same thing with your Delta Flyer,
Yeah.
uh, you and Rollhan's Delta Flyer, where I purposely avoided watching anybody's streams working on it. I would drop in, say hi, leave a like, and then dip right back out because I just wanted to come into it with my own, you know, opinions and not biased by anybody else.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
we
I
can we just
But
take a moment here just a moment and see that Kay is rickrolling us right now?
Oh
Can we
yes.
can we take a moment for that? Is that allowed?
Yeah, I had to put something there. So
Yeah, I saw it before before we went live and said something, but I just wanted to you know, see if anybody else caught it. Um, so I'm glad I'm not the only one that caught that there. It took me way too long to catch it though. You
yeah,
were way faster than me. Um, so yeah, the Centauri Carbon 2, Canrog are going to go make you at least look up a picture of it or something. Is essentially like a Centauri Carbon 1 with the number 2 printed on the side of it. And then the FlashForge 85X kind of multi-color system, where it feeds the 4 colors off the spool.
yeah.
Looks like it's got its own motor for each one of those. It feeds it out to the tool head and pulls it back, which is nice for the auto loading. And then
It does
um,
have something that I really like, and that is the that it's feeding all 4 into the tool head, and the extruder is so it doesn't have to backfeed all the way out of the printer like Bamboo's and my Cobra S1 does. It just takes forever to do filament swaps.
yeah, so it's more along the lines of like the Bamboo A1 type system. If
Yeah,
people are more familiar with that, where it's just pulling it back out of the tool head, which
yeah,
I agree with. I like that system better. The thing I don't like is the fact that they have not yet figured out a way to not have a ridiculous bucket on the top of it. Like I have a 6-year-old, she likes to put buckets on her head too. Okay.
yeah,
I don't you take a printer that I can fit underneath it here on a shelf. You can't see, but like you could fit right on one of those shelves right there.
yeah,
And take it from that to a machine that now needs 5 feet of clearance. It's as tall as a delta. It's as space inefficient as a delta. And I don't like that. Figure out a
yeah.
better way,
I
right?
think it's kind of weird because at least for me, I do a lot of ABS and ASA, PETG and stuff, and having to heat that is just a nightmare because
Oh yeah.
heat rises,
Might
right?
as well
So
not be enclosed at all.
yeah, I would think that they would gain more on making the printer maybe 5, 10, 5 or 6 actually centimeters taller, like 2 inches, and then try to get more of a bode on those PTFE tubes because the bamboos and the my cubic, uh, a lot of printers do that just fine. There's no major issues. I don't get why they need to go up and down. It should
Yeah.
just be able to go straight out.
Like
Uh, it
even
wouldn't
if
need
it's
that much space.
even if it's like an attachment kind of thing on the top of the tool head that comes out and slowly, gradually, so it's not a 90-degree turn, but a nice gradual sweep to get you, you know,
Yeah, and maybe take
perpendicular to
advantage
the.
of the fact that they can go in X and Y. They don't have to go up. They can go out
Yeah,
instead.
that's what I'm saying. Like, feed the material in from the side, and then it comes around
Yeah.
and then comes out. Because if you put that PTFE tube in the middle and you don't try to put it in a drag chain, right? Maybe you add a top hat to it, a little top hat, right? I got a top hat
Yeah,
on mine.
you can get away with a third of that at least, maybe more.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one for mine is somewhere in the neighborhood of like, I don't know, 80 millimeters high or something, the top hat. And that's going
Yeah.
to give you plenty of room to make a nice sweep and then come into your 4-way system there. And then you got your filament sensor in the tool head, and just go, okay, when it leaves this filament sensor, retract an additional, 200 millimeters or whatever it is to make sure you're back past that coupling and you're good to go. There's so many ways. It's just lazy.
Yeah. It does have most of the things I would tick in. Uh, when it comes to features, it just looks a little strange.
Yeah. And the heating thing was what I looked at too. I'm like, this is a thin plastic bucket on the top of this. By the time I heat, you know, heat rises to that, the amount of heat that's going to escape through that plastic, because it's so much surface area to dissipate heat through. You're never
Yeah.
going to get your chamber above, uh, you know, maybe 10C above ambient or something like that. Like, it's just never going to happen.
It is impressive though. The price. At least I'm looking
Yeah.
at my prices for it. It's cheaper than an A1.
Yeah, I think it was like $4.99 US or something like that, which is a good price point, right? It's at
Yeah.
that $500 break point. Um, there's a big mental hurdle between I paid $500 for this and I paid more than $500 for this.
Yeah.
So it's a good price point. I think they could have shaved $30 off of it between shipping and the price if they had, you know, just I don't
Get
know.
the bucket off.
Like, come on, guys. And this is it's not unique to them, right?
No.
So you've got the same issue with Prusa XL. If you want to enclose it, it's a joke because you got a giant freaking hat on the top of it that's got the same problem.
Snapmaker U1 has the exact same situation where people just
Yep.
get buckets from the craft store and use that as enclosures, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. And the 85X, same thing.
Yeah.
Um, and if customers don't put their foot down and just say, no, we're not buying this because you didn't put enough effort into it to, you know, make this thing fit on a shelf that most people use or anything like that. Like, how are you going to print farm these machines?
Yeah, you would need to modify racks just to have them.
Like, you're, it's ridiculous. And a lot of the Centauri Carbons ended up in print farms. Um, yeah, and it doesn't have any mechanical connection either. So uh, the effect it's going to have on input shaping is hate to see it. I'm sure they're going to want you to do input shaping or vibration compensation, whatever they call it, with that off. But yeah,
Old technology. It's a flying gantry machine. It's a clone. It's cool. Sure.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. It's what happened. They moved away from back style reels, which I appreciate because I have a machine with a back style reel, but could have put it on the side like the U1. They're
yeah.
worried about top hats, but it's all about filament routing, and it's a single
the
extruder. It's old technology. Who cares?
the spools do go on the side on it.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're all on one side. They could have split them,
Yeah.
but that I do get why they put them all on the same side because of the motors to feed all
Yeah.
on the same side just simplifies everything. So
Depends on how big a footprint you want, right?
yeah,
But it's old technology. It's
I
single
think
extrusion. Who
what
cares?
we're seeing a lot now is a lot of the same stuff.
Yep.
Just same boxes with the same style,
It's Core XY.
minimum improvements.
Everything's Core XY. They
Yeah,
can't go any faster. They've maxed out what they understand as Core XY growth. Oh, sorry, somebody just jumped in.
Hello, John.
Yeah,
Hey, how's it
John,
going?
how's it going?
Good.
So, you
Welcome to
know,
the stream. For those that don't know, this is John Doe. He's a does a lot of stuff. He's
I have a little 3D parenting ADHD.
yeah,
I
we
think we
all
all
do.
do.
You're in good company. There was another thing in the news that I wanted to talk about this week, and for the life of me, I cannot remember what it was.
the suspended matrix, the electrical suspended matrix in semi-fluid.
No, that
No.
wasn't it.
Oh, all right.
um, I
The
saw
the
that.
the new rotary, the 360 rotary head machine, and there's a reason why milling machines don't do that anymore.
I haven't seen that. What is that?
They're adapting like CNC systems to like directly over to 3D printing now. So the nozzle, there's a nozzle. I forget the brand, but there's a nozzle swapper with a wheel.
Oh, oh yeah,
They don't do that on milling
that's
machines for a reason.
Oh yeah, I saw those. Yeah.
It's an
yeah.
index, right? It's an index. That's what the format is an index, but it's still there's a reason why there's only a 90-degree swing on milling machines, not
Yep.
100 or not 360.
I don't think that that's a real product that's ever coming to market.
It might. It's not that hard to do.
No, but
But
you're
reliably.
yeah,
There's a
you're
reason why it's not on milling machines.
Yeah.
yeah. Their animations show the nozzles screwing in, right?
Yeah, sure.
And the the offset of that nozzle is going to depend on how well that's torqued every time into there.
Yeah,
And
preload.
I mean, you can go and then probe and get your nozzle offset every time you change the nozzle. Um, which is I think a feature that Bamboo needs to implement for their H2C because I just foresee that being an issue, right? Um, and but outside of that, you're still got the same issue that H2C does, where you've got to have some sort of AMS system to retract and move the filament in and out. And I,
You just
I don't think that product will ever come to market.
all preload, all it's all there. It's doable, but there's a reason why they don't do it on CNC machines.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing was Bamboo suing another company
Oh
for
God.
using the same technology that they stole in the first place. Like, come on, guys. This is a pot and kettle situation right here, guys.
Well, Strive System should be suing every manufacturer out there. So
But,
Yeah.
well, Stratasys is suing Bamboo, last I
yeah,
heard.
but they should be suing everybody.
Yeah.
It's their technology. Came out in 84, 86, something like that. Filament extrusion technology. But
I,
see, like for me, we plateaued like about a year ago on technology.
Yeah.
So like Core XY machines are great, but they're not that much better than a standard Cartesian. So a flying gantry is not that much better than a Cartesian. They can't max out the speeds any faster. There's still no rotary build plate yet, or tilt build plate yet, except from what, 2 trees. There's you know we're still not seeing nonlinear printing. We're still not seeing printing arms. We're still not seeing milling arms, laser arms. It's all out there. It already exists. You go to the trade shows, like Form Next had a bunch of them, but we're not even seeing belt printers again. We saw one, and well, we've seen 6, I guess, and then we have the baby belt. But
Yep.
we're not seeing we're not seeing, infinite Z printing or the technology to improve infinite Z printing, which has a very applicable manufacturing position. And
Yeah,
all
there's a
I'm,
lot of uses for it. Just the limitations of the belts themselves
that
is
can all be tuned. If you can proof the concept, you can build it better, right?
Yeah. I think we're at a point, and I think like you said, we've been there for a while, where we kind of stagnated on what's being done. I think most companies now aren't looking to do something new; they're just trying to cut costs and give the users like the more slicker interfaces, the better looking printers. The
Who cares about any of that?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean some
as a
do, but
designer and a manufacturer, I don't care. If
yeah,
it's ugly as sin, it's a brick, but it does exactly what I want when I want. What do I care?
yeah, and yeah, Jeb just nailed it. Slicers are the biggest issue, not just for belts, for
Well,
everything.
not
Slicing,
non-linear printing
yeah,
is
non-linear printing would be
the
like
best
the
one
next
out
thing.
there is the RepRat,
Yeah,
the best one out there, and it's all experimental. I
and I
don't know.
think if someone
We're
can
not
make
even seeing IDEXs.
if
IDEXs
some
have literally been the future. The index is nice, right?
yeah
That tool swapping. You see the U1, and you guys know I'm a huge fan of Snapmaker. The U1 is an improvement on the black box, sure. The CR30 is an improvement on the White Knight, sure. But they build them, then the technology stops. Snapmaker
yeah,
is the only one out there doing 3-in-1 machines anymore, and there used to be quite a few.
I think we've also seen for a number of years now the whole speed thing being like this thing can move at 600, 700, 800 millimeters a second,
Needs
and
to
yeah,
print at 150 mils per second. It doesn't matter
yeah,
what acceleration you have, doesn't matter how fast your tool goes, doesn't matter how often you swap filaments. There's two things that need to be done: efficiency of material, i.e., material swapping,
yeah,
and actual legitimate feed rate.
yeah,
Because
being able to flow the filament and then cool the filament is probably the biggest limit on most printers nowadays.
and
oh
that's
yeah.
that.
Doesn't
I don't
matter
know if
what
that's a
kind of
material science
motion
issue.
system. Yeah,
I don't, and even that. Well, the motion system is good, but it's the cooling system that needs updates because it
I
needs to go
think
from a semi-fluid to a static fluid instantaneous. But there's been talk like if you guys want to go into the deep end of it, remember there is extrudable resin or extrudable filament resin which heats then is shocked into position and then naturally cools without expansion.
yeah,
So
Someone needs to make that universal hot crazy women matrix for 3D printers, where you have like the Ender 3 down in the bottom and the Snapmaker U1 at the top, and then have all the printers in that kind of matrix, because that's what we're dealing with. Is just everything's pretty much done so far, but it's on a sliding scale, and you're trying to hit that median line there.
well, so I am a big fan of um, IDEXs, and now with the index and the index IDEX is sort of the future of things. And IDEX is coming back because Voron has said like, hey, why is no one making IDEXs? And IDEXs are amazing because on one side you have support material, on the other side you have color swap. But then when you're done with support material, you can now color swap.
yeah,
And now when you have an IDEX an index that can do that, where it switches tools however it likes, you never have to worry about your support material contamination ever again. You can color swap once you're through your support material. And as I've said before, I think dual head IDEXs are the future, where you have an oversized undersize on two heads. But everyone wants to maximize their build plate size. But there's a reason why 256 millimeter became the standard size.
yeah. I think having IDEX makes a lot of sense because you can combine, like you said, you can combine two different multi-material
Yeah,
systems.
multi-material system. Yeah,
Yeah.
which
So
I'm a
like
huge fan of.
yeah, if you have an IDEX, you can have like two box turtles feeding one tool head and one be swapping the other one going. It's
Well,
not ideal, but it never
it
will be.
well, that's better. IDEXs are better and will always be better than a dual extrusion head.
Yeah.
And that's coming from someone who likes dual extrusion heads. A dual extrusion head is nice, but there's a bunch of heating and cooling issues that come from that, and it limits your volume. Whereas like a proper, since everyone wants to go flying gantry, flying gantry IDEX with index or dual extruder heads, where the head is got two positions for the heater, so you have two nozzles on each head. You now have a four output out of material.
That would be
And yeah, I agree. I
insane.
still, but it's not. It's not that crazy.
It's
If I
not.
can
No,
pick
it's
it
not.
up, right?
It just sounds like it's something that would be really fun to set
Yeah.
up and tune.
Well, think about it, right? Because like especially if you have a nice print volume, you go up from say 256 to 300 single extrusion, and then that drops you down to like 280 ish for double extrusion on IDEX.
Yeah.
You've got, and not only that, but you can clone, you can do whatever you want, right? There's a bunch of different, but everyone wants to go single extrusion or dual extrusion. Dual extrusion gives you less volume, right? Because it shrinks your bed. And the thing that comes down to it is, oh, everyone wants to add a laser. Well, lasers and filament don't get along. So
I think right now you've got an issue where um, the same way we did back with like the Ender threes and stuff like that. You Everybody went from Cartesian setup. They ran to the bottom on price on that, and then Core XY, and now they're running to the bottom on that. Once everybody gets to the bottom, and there's no money to be made, the market's saturated. There'll be something new that'll come out because there's room above it now, right? When Core XY is $1,500, it's kind of the top of what the consumer market's going to tolerate, right?
Core
And
XY is
then
1,000.
what's that?
Like you can get an IDEX for 1,000.
Yeah, I understand, but what I'm saying is prices come down for that, then there's room above it, right? To come in with something new at a price point that is a premium price point. But right now, if you try to come in above, $2,000 on these new bamboo machines, you're coming in at $3,000. The market for it's so small that you're going to have a hard time selling it, right? And
Well,
as
that's what's
Core
happening with
XY
Race
drives
3D,
down,
right?
right, those things, Race 3D's printers were crap. We had the IDEX ones at work, and they got tossed.
I see that there's an opening here that should be, when it's seen, it will probably be developed, and that's to have a 3D printer by your washer and dryer, and that size, the size of appliance that you will sell at Best Buy, when when 3D printing is a little bit more, just you don't have to worry about it, kind of like the bamboos right now, where people are buying them because they just work, right? That's what they always say. Although in Facebook I see lots of posts of them screwed up just like every other 3D
Yeah.
printer, but that's the perception of a bamboo H2D or H2C or whatever, that you can just send a print and it comes out and uh, it'll work and the size is correct on all the parts. Everything's just right for the person that knows nothing about 3D printing. They
The
can buy it, and if they can go to Best Buy and pick up a box that's the same size as their washing machine and get like a 400 millimeter size bed or larger, and print the things that they need in their house, like stools and shelving and just anything that you need around the house, and it just
Oh yeah.
works. There's that market, and if that market is like GE, where it's just stamped metal for everything, just the cheapest build, where you just send it and it prints out, and I don't see why they couldn't make that for, you know, $2,500, and everybody in America would probably have one if it worked every single time.
The problem with that is, again, single extrusion. So it's like the the what is the Gigastorm Orange?
Well,
Super interested in it. Super cool idea. Very brave for Elegoo to come out with that. There's a
Yep.
couple of problems right off the bat though. Four build plates. Four build plates. So
right.
self leveling and PID and meshing, super big issue that follows with that. Okay, they can gang manufacturing. Sure. But gang manufacturing is not IDEX, nor is it index. So when you're gang manufacturing, sure you get four of the same thing. It's great and all, but now your build plate's all out of whack because each head is a different position. So like the talk I had, and I haven't talked about this much. I talked about it in one Discord one time, and I was just ripped to ribbons about it. But that machine should have come out straight out of the box as an IDEX. Straight out of the box with panels, because exactly like you said, having a machine, and it doesn't have to be in your house, but it has to be on your block,
Yeah.
right? And I've said before that artisan printing shops, artisan CNC shops are going to become a thing. Whereas there's a schism between big box stores and cottage industry like it used to be, that's going to come back because there's a ton of guys out there, guys and gals, who can make whatever they want whenever they want, and there's a shop space for it. Now we just need to see that as a commercial asset. So yes, I agree with you. We do need more things like the Gigastorm X or Gigastorm whatever. But the machine, too simple, too complicated, and too unreliable. And not only that, but remember, the longer you put weight above something, the higher you put it away, the more deflection you receive. So, you have
Well,
that twistingness, right?
yeah, I'm seeing it. The Core XY is just a stable platform.
Yeah.
We all know that works. And then having the bed lower, and then you open up the door like all 3D printers, but you could have two or three print heads sitting on each side, and then on the top of it, you just lay your spools in it, and you could put PLA, PETG, ABS, or whatever, and then print them all together on and you'd have like the multiple tool heads, because a washing machine size appliance in everybody's house, you know, and if the plastic was not, if it was vetted to be food safe, and everything that everybody's always crying about,
You can't
you
get
know,
food safe with FDM. It's impossible.
yeah,
Right.
well,
But
it
no,
could,
I hear you. I
you
think your
know,
point is 100% valid. We can't even get people to discuss 3D printers as microwaves, right?
right,
Like,
right,
and that's my thing. It's like a 3D printer you should think of it just like a microwave.
yep,
It's there when you need it. It does what you want it to do, and it does it like yesterday. But like Kay was saying, we don't have enough. We're not actually getting a production rate of 150 mils a second. We're not actually getting a reliable system. So you end up with all these other options, right? And I think that I'm getting really bad feedback.
yeah, me too.
So I think we could all I hope we can all agree that if you had the choice of a semi-reliable, really fast printer and a fully reliable, slower printer, you would always take the slower one. And
Well, Ender 3s. Why do you think Ender 3s were the largest selling 3D printer for almost 10 years?
yeah,
And there's over 3.5 million Ender 3s in the wild. And they still make Ender 3s.
yep, because they're
There's
reliable.
a reason. And they're
super.
easily repaired.
Yep.
Easily modifiable. There's tons of parts for them. They're the Ford pickup truck of the 3D print world, right?
Yep.
They're not the best, but they're definitely not the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Here's the
rather
thing.
have a printer that always works slowly than one that sometimes works fast.
Yeah.
To me, that's
Here's the
important.
thing. So before every single evolution in consumer printing, right? I'm not talking about industrial 3D printing. I'm talking about consumer stuff, has been driven by the open source community, right? And right now, the open source community has very much diminished, right? You've got a few driving factors on that, right? Just loss of interest by some key people in the community, right? They've moved on in their life, and that's okay. Uh, then you've got a lack of new blood coming into it, right? So before anybody got Ender 3, they're going to end up in the open source world in some sort of fashion, right? Because they're going to have to figure out how to make this thing work, right? And that pulled a lot of people into the open source world. And some of those people ended up developing stuff. And then the price on components, right? So it is very expensive now to import parts from China, to tinker with, to try to build the next newer, bigger, better thing than it was, 6 years ago. All right. It before, when you could, go grab a cheap linear rail off of AliExpress, have it here in a couple of weeks and pay less than $10 for it. And you need, 6, 7, seven,
We're
seven
looking at you
rails.
Americans to do that.
What's that?
The world is looking at you Americans to reindustrialize and do that.
I think it's
Well,
coming.
It's the truth. Look, if there's two big countries with a huge labor force and huge huge ability, that's what we're looking at. Because right now we have one place, Asia, and it mostly is China. There's others. There's Taiwan. There's Japan. There's Korea. There's also even Vietnam.
Japan's not making inexpensive components.
No.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Japan is making high quality components.
Yes. Fair enough.
All right. And maybe, once you've got your design hammered out, yeah, you go, okay, now I'm going to replace these rails with some high quality rails. I'm going to, but the R&D phase of it, for the average guy sitting in his, basement, garage, kitchen with his wife yelling at him, designing these things and working on it, you've got to be able to get parts for testing cheaply, right? You're like, I don't know if this is the right part, so I don't want to spend $100 on it, right? And until the price to be able for the open source community to R&D and develop what comes after, Core XY, what comes after, the current meta for 3D printing, you're not going to get it in consumer stuff. Yeah, maybe companies build it for industrial stuff, but these companies, Bamboo, Creality, Prusa, like all of them, they're taking from the open source community.
Prusa supports open source, though. Let's be real.
I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not saying whether or not they do or don't support open source. I'm just saying that these companies are taking from the open source community for what comes next.
Yep.
Right.
Well, we saw that with the bamboos.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we see them change everything to a walled garden. Maker World, printables. They do not take after what we had with Cura and Thingiverse. Cura and Thingiverse just put it out there and didn't try to monetize it. And we were able to use those with whatever printer we decided to use. But now Bamboo wants to lock everything down. So when you get their 3MF, it's got all kinds of problems when you put it onto your FlashForge or your Voron. You got all kinds of settings that aren't compatible.
They won't take a 3MF off of a Snapmaker build. I can't.
Here's the
Every
thing.
time I do a design, right, and I go to upload it, if I do a render of a 3MF using Orca, they won't. Nobody will take the Snapmaker version.
I'm at the point where if there's only a 3MF to download, I won't download. I'll find
Dude,
something else.
I'm the huge.
I'll
I
download the
love
3MF.
STLs, man. I
Yep.
and I know object files are better than STLs. I get it, but I have always been an STL guy since I started. I will always
Yep.
be an STL guy. But now it's just like Alex was saying. There's no money in it. And
Yep.
and
Yeah.
and as for Thingiverse, Thingiverse has blatantly said that there's no money in it. If you're a designer, the likelihood of you ever making a career out of being a designer, whether it be a machine designer, a practical print designer, or a toy maker, it's never going to happen. And they've said that, which you're welcome to disagree with, and I know I disagree with it, but that for sure is one of those things, right? And like I have dryers and a printer that I need some engineering help to finish up. But even getting involved in that community is super hard.
Yep.
Super hard.
So there was a time where Commodore 64 was a big thing, big deal,
Ooh.
and the they thought that software was a $0 thing, just like these people think that STLs and 3D objects are a $0 thing that Thingiverse did. But as we know, there's a lot of big companies that don't agree, and they put a lot of money into walling this stuff into their walled gardens and trying to keep people from having access to 3D files. And
The big killer
hopefully,
now, though, is like staying on that idea. I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
no, go ahead.
Okay, as an independent designer, game maker, toy maker, that's like what I do. I do practical prints, all that stuff. If I can't even get my independent game and toy pieces, like game pieces, to get interest because the only thing people want are the top 6 IPs in the world, how am I going to fund any other project in the world? Like right now, the idea of cloning and cloning and cloning other people's work and then working off an existing IP where no one will take anything new, that is one of the most disheartening things I can ever imagine. Right? Like I built my world around me, creating new intellectual property in a hopes to draw away from the big companies, the big toy makers, the big whatever. And my intent was to create an item that was a consumable or semi-consumable that people would purchase, which would then allow me to fund other projects like my dryers, like my printer. But Alex put it best. It's like there's just no money in any of them. There just isn't.
Well, back in the olden days, in the 1900s,
Yeah, back in
you
the
know,
1900s. Yep.
we when we went to the computer store and bought a floppy disk that had software on it, it never had copy protection until several years after publishers, and everybody was still making money. They would just put
Yep.
their software, everybody would get it, and they knew that it had a finite life. You weren't going to live off of Oregon Trail forever. And so, but people would pay money for it because they wanted to have it first.
Those who could pay for it would pay for it, and we
That's
saw
right.
that with the rise of internet piracy.
Yep. And the same thing with like 3D printing. When you go and find a really nice STL, you know that it's going to end up on Telegram, but people will pay for it to have the nice new Nerf gun and show it off. So you will make money, but you have to stay creative. It's not like you can just expect to live the next 40 years off of Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
But that's the music industry, right?
So yeah, music industry, prime example, right? So you've got the internet came around, music piracy started, but the problem is that the music industry did not see or did not want to admit, right, is when somebody goes and downloads the latest copy of Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, right? The chances that that person downloaded it instead of going to buy it is slim to none. The people who wanted to own a copy of it went and bought it. The people that downloaded it were like, I kind of want this, but I'm not buying it. They didn't look, the amount of money that they lost was far less than what they think, right? So
Yep.
because the people downloading it were never your customer in the first place,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, we recorded stuff off the radio all the time instead of buying the new thing. But I have milk crates full of CDs and DVDs that I purchased, even though I LimeWired them or whatever back in the day. You know, I wanted to hear it right away, but I still went to Best Buy and picked up the CD.
Yeah. Well, I that's why I push like right now, and that's we're in a weird area right now. This conversation, I love it, but we're in a weird spot because streaming services have actually destroyed the movie industry and the music industry. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's like you said, those who would buy it would buy it. Those who wouldn't buy it would wait for it to come on the radio. And that there's no, but I don't know where that fits into intellectual properties as a creator. You know what I mean? And I don't know, as someone who's trying to always bring new people in, trying to get people to print different things, and they want to print Pokemon, they want to print Star Wars, and they want to print Games Workshop, you know, or whatever, right? To break that barrier, and it's the Voron is doing their best. And I think the fact that Voron at Form Next was like, hey, we're doing a 2.4 IDEX, and we can also do a rotary mandrel for it. Oh, and maybe we'll start moving into tilt build plates. And then there's a bunch of people working with polar printers and non-linear printing. I think, like I do agree that the open source community is taking a hit because all of these companies are snatching up engineers or working off the pre-basis of the work that was done in the open source community. And like you said, John, it's that gilded cage, it's that fortified garden or whatever. Sorry to paraphrase, but you know what I mean? And I agree. But look at Alex, right? Alex will go and he'll say, okay, well, I know this machine is experimental. I want to build it. But he's like less than 1% of 3D printers. Just on my end, from the people I deal with, people like, oh, Maker, you're not a 3D print builder. I was like, why would I build a printer that costs me double what an off-the-shelf printer does, and to produce content for a small community? Other than it being, you know what I'm saying, Alex? Like you get
No,
right?
I'm just going. I wish that my Trident cost only double what an off the shelf printer costs.
But my Voron, which was it was a gift, right? It was a gift from KB3D. Yeah. That Voron is worth twice what the Bamboo A1 is. Yeah. And it cannot do what an A1 is.
And like the tool head I put on my Trident last night is worth more than that entire V0 is.
So like just to put things into perspective for anyone watching that's not into custom printers and stuff. So right now you can go and buy the Centauri Carbon 2 for about $500, right? Or less than $500.
It's like 500 Canadian.
Yeah. So this is a Rook. This costs $600 to build. I mean, it does not make sense unless you're really in it for the fun of building printers. Because this thing is $600.
Which is a great, like, I'm not trying, like, I like development. I like that, okay? But when I used to be able to buy an Ender 3, I could buy fitting parts, do whatever I wanted to it, and do it. That's where the community needs to go into. Like Soval, I don't know if Soval's doing a copy of the Rook, but they are copying the Voron Zero, right? They copy all of the Voron open source stuff. But again, the open source stuff, there's no filament cutters on them. They're not.
Oh, there is. There is.
Well, which ones?
There's a filament cutter for the Stealth Burner. There's a filament cutter for
you just have to
Jabberwocky Toolhead, the Dragon Burner, and then there's just generic ones like the Crossbow filament cutter, the Snapping Turtle that's coming out that just bolt to any extruder that has a Sherpa or orbiter bolt pattern, right? And if it doesn't, print an adapter and put your extruder on it, right? The the um, the filament cutters that are on these closed source machines are modifications of what the open source community designed in the first place, right?
You're still down
But
that rabbit hole of the open source is not making the money, and the closed,
no, I
well,
know, but
semi-closed and closed source.
the open source is doing the heavy lifting
Oh yeah,
of design and innovation for the closed source community, right? And
100%.
the closed source community, by closing stuff off and walling it off and making it so you can't touch this, is making it so that the development that would go into developing what the closed source is going to release next doesn't happen.
Oh yeah, the stagnation
What's your
is there.
next printer going to be when the open source community isn't here to design it for you because you're not doing it yourself, right? And then I've got going back to the music industry and software kind of thing. I've got an idea for you, and you design stuff. I don't. Let me run this past you, right? Because this is how I would do it if I could design anything worth a damn, right?
Everyone can design
So,
now.
um, I tinker with it. I manage to make what I need, but whether or not it's beautifully refined is another story. Okay. Um, you know, music industry, they release a CD, right? On that CD is 12 songs, right? And if you want to listen to all 12 of those songs, you got to buy the CD, right? And then one by one, they release it to the radio, right? Which is free. It's ad supported, right? The music companies get some kickback from the music from the radio stations based on the money that the music stations make, right? Now, a platform where you design something or I design something, right? And I release that model and it's paid, right? Today it's paid. And it costs you $1, let's say, right? To buy it. And then, I get 2, 3, 4 models made. And then the oldest one goes free to a STL site where, John Doe can go and download it for free and it's ad supported, right? How like Thingiverse had like a thing where you had to, see this ad for 10 seconds before it would do the download, right? Where, and then I'm getting a kickback from the STL site based on the ad revenue that the STL site is making in conjunction and, in proportion to how many times my STL is downloaded. That is a model that I think could work.
I have that.
I'm getting a bunch of money up front with selling stuff, and then everybody that was going to pay for my model has paid for it. Right? So I've pulled all the money that there is to pull out from selling it out. Now I'm giving it away for free and getting a little bit of a royalty off of ad revenue that the site that is hosting it is making. I think that's the only way that long term you can make it make sense and continue to have cool models come out, right? And, the latest and greatest, and then continue to make revenue on it on the back end.
So that is my format. So every year I go through and I'll update models because my skills progress. But the problem is the website. So for example, right now, I use a subscription-based and single model purchase. But every time I revise a model, the previous model becomes free, not open source, not remixable, just free. Right? It started with concepts, then I did the first ones, and then so on. But the websites, there's no kickback from Thingiverse. They during an interview, they simply said like those ads you see, and people do use ad blockers. Those ads you see is what keeps Thingiverse rolling. That's what pays them. That's what gets them to pay their mortgages. They're not interested in subscription systems. They're not interested in anything like that. But your system is exactly what I believe in. It just like, if I can ever get my dryers off the ground or my printer off the ground, the first generation until I go and do the revision will be paid. Then that becomes open source, and the next generation, the stuff I'm working on, is now the paid. And I agree with that system. I think that's great. That has been, because like
Is
you
there any?
need the money to start. And Kay, you can agree with that. You need that money to pay for the prototyping, to pay for your time. You got to be able to pay your mortgage. You got to have like me. I have one space. I don't have a studio on top of where I live. It is one system, and I agree with that. And it's not that I'm complaining. It's not. It's just the realisticness of all this. Like, you don't, Alex, you don't even have a proper studio. You're stuck in your garage with your car, and we want you to have a studio. But how do we do that? And as they've
I want me
said,
to have a studio too. There's one
right?
right there,
Well,
right there.
I'm itching. I'm itching for a studio so bad, because then I could run my lab constantly, and I can actually add more space to it. But the fact that my studio is my live workspace, but they've even said now, and it's a consistent trend in media, that traditional cable, I don't know what it would be, I don't know what the term is, but it's dead. The next market is YouTube and live stream.
Yeah.
And YouTube is the long term, and Kay, you can agree with that. And Twitch and whatever comes after Twitch is the short term. And I'm notoriously bad for not converting my live streams from Twitch to
Yes,
YouTube.
dual stream, bud, so that I don't have to
Ah,
watch all these ads. No,
bah, bah, bah.
but after a couple weeks ago, we had this discussion about paid models and stuff like that. And after the stream, I realized that you know I complained, but I didn't have a solution.
Your answer's
All
perfect.
right,
I agree.
and whether or not the solution is a perfect solution or not, I didn't want to just be the guy that complained about a situation without proposing a potential solution
A workaround.
for the problem.
Yeah.
Right. So I
No,
took some time and thought about it and wanted to present it to you as somebody who does sell models. See what your thought on it was.
that's perfect. Like that's what I want to work with. It's like any machine, because I do want to get into custom designing. Like, I really want to get into a non-pole or a polar non-linear printer 5-axis. That's like the dream. But I can't pay some engineer to come help me with it. I can't go down that rabbit hole, because it's just not there. And I would love to. And I agree. I think your idea is perfect. I think first you do one generation, and then the following generation, the previous generation becomes free, because I agree with you. The people who are going to buy it bought it. The people who want it will wait, and they will be willing to wait, right? And anyone who's stealing files, well, then they're stealing files. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Just like if somebody steals your files and prints 1,000 of them and charges $10 a piece, and you don't get a cut, there's nothing you can do about it. But
Well,
you're not going to stop those
Well,
people.
but they'll be less apt to go out and steal the file if they know, hey, I really like this, but I don't have $20 to spend on it today.
Yep.
But I really like this. I'm going to put it in my library of things that I want to get, and then I know that shortly it's going to come out free, ad supported. Right? So yeah, I'm going to have to watch a 30-second ad, but I'll get to download it for free, and they're going to be a lot less apt to go out and steal those files. And as that happens, as the demand drops for those files, it's going to be way less profitable for the people that are stealing it and then republishing it and selling it again. So the piracy drops. The same way, like, LimeWire and stuff like that was, and Napster and stealing music files, right, was huge. And then you got streaming services, right?
iTunes.
And piracy levels dropped, right? Nobody's trying to pirate anything. They can just go listen to Pandora Radio. They can, listen to iTunes, Slacker Radio, like all those music streaming things, right? Some of them are ad supported, some of them you pay for, whatever the case may be. But now you didn't have to go out and steal files. It's less risky. There's no money in it for the people on the other side developing the software and taking the legal risks and all that stuff. Like, if there's no incentive, they're not going to do it.
No, it's brilliant. I agree with it 100%.
So for me, the whole thing about because I grew up with having to either buy stuff or download it, both video and music, and the main reason that there was a transition between downloading music illegally and then using a streaming service is just it's so much easier. Because downloading music, there was a lot of trolling going on. People would upload the wrong music with different titles and finding exactly what you wanted. And sometimes you couldn't find the whole album. You had to find individual songs. It took forever to just find it. And then someone came along and said, if you give me $20 a month, you can listen to whatever you want. And I'm like, yeah, my time is worth a lot more than $20 a month. And that's what we still do. So that's why we pay for streaming services. That's why we pay for YouTube or Twitch or whatever, because we just get the content that we want in pretty much unlimited amounts right now.
Yeah.
Well,
and still people are going out and buying the CDs and the albums or whatever. It's in a lower number, but they're making their money in another way. And yeah, the streaming services haven't yet figured out how to balance that, right? Before it was, a movie was released in theaters and it came out on VHS, and then eventually, it came out on TV, right? And there's that slowly, so trickle down effect to, okay, we've made all the money we can make here. We're going to go here. We're going to, and that tiered system.
I think they're still struggling the best to find that balance right now.
Well, they broke movie theaters because they started releasing, within 4 weeks of a movie release in a theater, they would then release it to streaming services. They broke.
And now they even just skip the whole movie theater entirely, or just double release at the same time. And I don't like people, so if I don't have to go outside to do something, I'll stay at home and do it.
Sure.
My living room 90-inch TV is much better than most theaters. So
yeah.
Well, and there's nobody on a cell phone in your living room unless you want them to be.
I'm going to tell you what
you don't have to fight
theaters.
Someone for the best seats. Yeah. Well, I do, because I have a girlfriend that wants to have my seat. But
here's what broke movie theaters. Okay, so you used to have movie budgets. A big budget movie was $30 million, right? So you could release that movie in theaters, and if it made $100 million, it was a success. Now, when you have a budget to make that film that is $300 million, $600 million, and you're a $1 billion theatrical release, you've still lost money.
Yep. Because remember,
and when you release a movie that needs to be the number one grossing movie of all time to break even, you've got a problem.
Yep.
Right? And then when you're doing that and making shite movies on top of it, you're re-releasing the same movie that I went to see when I was a kid, right? Even if it's, not a remake, but when it's the same story as, you might be calling it The Avengers, but when it's the same plot line as, the Brothers Grimm's fairy tales.
Oh yeah, it's about quality for sure. Like I agree.
They don't want to pay writers. They're paying actors an insane amount of money and not paying the people that are actually creative making it. Now, I'm not saying that the actors shouldn't make money. I'm not saying that people shouldn't make money. I'm just saying maybe rethink where you actually made the money from. Was it the actor in the movie, or was it the guy putting pen to paper coming up with a new idea that people wanted to go hear that story?
Well, and look at production values. So you go pay some actor 100 million. Now that actor should be making about 40, right? Because there's no auxiliaries, no nothing, whatever, sure, right? And because that they want to make more because that movie might become a classic, da 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 da. But that 100 million that you spent on them, that extra 60 million, that could have gone into movie production values, and the movie would have looked better, and it would have had a higher chance, at least for people to get involved. No, I agree. I don't know I don't know where the future, because I make the models I want to make. I make the things I want to do. And that motivation is what keeps me going. But to
Yeah.
expand into anything bigger, like for example, to work on something like the Rook, where I go and redesign parts of it or something, to go and do that without being able to actually own one is really hard. I've been approached about making parts for bamboos. I've been for snap makers, for Elegoo's, for Cretality. But if I don't have the machine, how am I going to make parts for it? And then as like right now, because I'm very very much in love with my Voron needs a filament swapper. But how am I going to make parts for how am I going to redesign or make my own version of a filament swapper if I've never actually seen a clipper filament swapper, or vice versa on the Snapmaker? How am I going to do a filament swapping device, a switch box, an MMU, an AMS, a pallet, whatever you want to call it, for a machine when I've never actually even seen one? The closest thing I got is an AMS for the bamboo.
I think this whole conversation comes back to the rocking chair argument. The guy that has the rocking chair on his stoop, and the neighbor comes over to visit and says, "Oh, I've never seen a rocking chair before," and I love that. I want to make one. And so he goes home and has that idea in his head from what he saw, and he makes one. So you can't really stop somebody after they've seen your idea, right? They're
Yeah.
going to make a copy, and it just becomes easier and easier and easier with technology of making copies of stuff. So not trying to keep people from making copies isn't the solution. The solution is kind of developing new ideas all the time, and there's only a few people that can do that, and those people are, just getting crapped on all the time by the big corporations, because there's only a few people that get a big upfront money bag and say, hey, go develop me a game. Here's a $500,000. Go spend the next year and a half, and I want to see something, because they know somebody that's like idiot savant with their money and investing, and expects to get back something when they give it to somebody. And there's some of us that have day jobs and can sit there and do non-work stuff and develop things, and you see all these projects from engineers and developers. They're developing software and developing printers, but they do a different job, so they're kind of funding it themselves by their work is unknowingly funding their work on
Well,
side projects.
every contract I've ever had, like I'm an industrial mechanic, right? So every contract I've ever had, that I can't work on stuff when I can't think of stuff, I can't work on any, because it all falls under they get the rights to anything I design, even if it's on
that,
my own time.
that they know of.
But then you have to like prove that it wasn't done. It gets really hinky really fast with
Mhm.
industrial work, right?
Right.
So, but like that's what I'm saying is, like, now that I've come over to a full-time content creation, which actually there's 2 points. I forget who made the first one. It's that I think maybe it was Alex. But one, I don't charge for Twitch. You choose to pay into Twitch. That is so that sort of those who buy will, right? And I try to motivate that, but nonetheless. Two, I have models that are free. I also have models that are paid. But like I was saying, they cycle back in, which again, I still love that idea of if you can buy, if you want to buy, you will. I and maybe I'm just an altruist. And then three, John, you were saying something, and I just wanted to point out Sanjay Mortimer. Let's be real for a hot minute. Sanjay Mortimer was not a tens of millions of dollars man, and anyone who doesn't know, you might want to go find out. But just saying, because I'm pretty sure we're still using his stuff. Pretty sure.
Yep.
Well, like Linux Torvalds, he developed Linux, but he had a day job working for a university when he was doing it, and I'm not going to give away my day job, but I do software development,
Yeah.
and as Alec knows, I'm on his stream all day instead of working half the time because I love the 3D printing. This is just I got into this YouTube streaming stuff about a year ago when I got out of the hospital, and I find this part of 3D printing the most enjoyable now, just seeing other developers.
Well, when I transition out of blue collar and into white collar jobs, it might be a different story. But I'm just a dirty mechanic. Like I always think it's funny because Alex always wants me on the show. He's always like, "Yeah, Maker, come hang out. We're fun. You talk too much, right? Like it's great." And I'm like, dude, I am like so below everybody else in the room. And he's like, no, you're not. We love having you. So, but I always think it's funny because I do talk to engineers, I do talk to developers, and I do talk to programmers. And it always blows me away because when I'm in the field, well, I guess when I was in the field, I can do a sketch in something, but as soon as I make that, the company steals it. There's
Yep.
there's no private time. There's no anything I make for them is mine and I can trademark it and they have to buy it from me. There's none of that. So
You just need to go work for a university then, because they'll let you do that.
I'm not that smart, I don't think.
You'd be surprised. I work in graduate education, and I'm not going to say anything, but
yeah, fair enough. I was a little bit of a knuckle dragger who likes setting stuff on fire, man.
Galileo, unfortunately, that's not an option for Patreon stuff. You kind of got to set, and that's why there's a bunch of tiers normally for Patreons, and you know,
having multiple
like my
tiers
YouTube channel memberships. There's like 3 tiers, right? But none get you anything that the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't have memberships. I don't have Patreon. I don't have paid models. Everything I do is free. I think that's just me being an idiot, but
no, it's altruistic. I think you're right. Okay, if I could do that, I would. Like if tomorrow I didn't have financial worries in the real, I would be down your rabbit hole. I'd be chasing your tail looking for an answer. Like what can we do? How can we expand this? Like but there is a real aspect of life which is where I am not in that position. I can't do that. But the moment it does happen, why wouldn't I? If I never have to worry about having a second studio, if I could split away my work life from my personal life, if I could do that, why wouldn't I?
Do you have a day job, Kenrod?
Nope.
No? You're just financially independent, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
I wish I was. I wish I could do 3D printing full time, but
so I'm not at the point where if I need something I can go buy it. I'm at the point where if I need something, I would have to save up and work extra to get it. But I'm also at the point where I don't have to do anything to get by. I can get by just fine without doing anything. I can just wake up in the morning and do whatever I want and then go back to bed. I don't have to do anything.
That's
so
nice.
Everything that I do content wise or design wise, releasing models, everything that I do is just what I want to do. That's my main goal. If I can get up in the morning or in the evening or in late at night.
What if I can get out of bed?
Yeah, if I can get out of bed, do something that I want to do, and be able to share that as well, that's just the big bonus for me.
I think that's where everybody wants to be. That's in this kind of like 3D community.
The
They
creative.
they would like to be there and creating stuff that they enjoy doing. I have about 5 more years before I can retire, but I'm hoping to get there. But I think when so I've started subscribing to a lot of these 3D printing channels over the past year, and I think a lot of these makers would like to produce something that they enjoy and be able to make a living off of it. And they're just trying to find that way. And some people get lucky. A lot of people get, paid sponsorships to be really nice about printers, as we can see on somebody's reviews.
I am sponsored, but I have no just material sponsorship, and part of my rider is I just say what I want,
Yeah,
and it's like
same.
if it ends our interactions with the company, then it ends our interactions with the company. But that's like, for me, you can't buy my opinion. Now, will I be a little gentler with sort of the stronger points? Of course, but I'm honest about the fact that I'm sponsored,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the one thing that bugs me, is that they're not straightforward about where their P's and Q's are and stuff, right? Alex, I just have to back out for a minute. I'm gonna kill my camera, but I got ears on still, okay?
All right.
I was really talking about Foxhammer, the faux hammer or Foxhammer or however you want to say his name.
Bowhammer, yeah.
Yeah, faux hammer.
So
He,
so what I do when it comes to sponsorships and stuff is that if they want me to say something specific that would um, change the view of or the perception for the viewer, that's a no. That's just immediately no. If someone approaches me about sponsored videos or sponsorships in general, I have to have complete freedom to say whatever I want to say.
Yep.
If that's good, that good. If that's bad, then that's what I'm going to say. So far, I haven't had any big bad wolves, if we could put it that way. I haven't had any situation where I've been in where I would have to completely slander a product or something. Um, I have had some really weird sponsors approach me, but
Oh
for those, I just
my.
say no.
Oh, so we're getting underwear photos from you in the near future from MeUndies or
No.
something?
I recently we had a really fun time with some friends. I got an email from a wig company that wanted to sponsor me, to
I
send
want
me
to see it.
wigs.
I want to see it.
Is that a hint or?
I want to see it. I want to see
just
it.
a big orange
Yeah, just
afro.
Yeah.
yeah.
Big fro. Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see that video, okay?
And yeah, so I do a lot of affiliate links, which is
Yeah. Me too.
most of my income comes from AliExpress affiliate links. Which
That's where
is
I am too.
and
Although I'm not a
most of
big
that
user
money
of
goes
you.
straight back into AliExpress as well. So that's I think they win anyways on that.
As
Sound
you
like
with
Alex. Any money
I
he's
have
getting, it goes right back into his printers.
go.
yeah. So I don't. My channel doesn't make very much at all. So
But we're really proud of you. You hit your 1,000. I
yeah,
was so proud of you when that
yeah.
happened.
So YouTube has you have to make $100 in a month to get paid out. I did not make that in December. I did not make that in January. I will get paid out in February. But it's one of those things where it is what it is, right? Like the only affiliate link I have is with Polymaker. One person has used that one time to buy one spool of filament. I think I got 16 cents off of that or something like that.
Don't feel bad. I've been a Polymaker partner for 4 years, and I've made $26 in the 4 years I've been with Polymaker. Affiliate
Yeah,
links I'm not a fan of them. I'm really not. But again, I'm like with K. You can't pay, you can't buy my opinion. So
yeah.
I'm a really hard guy to sponsor. So I get that. We'll get you there,
I
Alex. I promise.
so
I've
I
I've
barely
never
get.
once been approached to do any sort of thing like, hey, we want to send you this thing to review. I've never once had anything that I've had on my channel as far as that goes, like the Delta Flyer. Like I reached out to Jason. Hey, I'm interested in building this. Are you interested in sending it to me for me to build? Right. And most of the time, most of that sort of sponsorship stuff is parts. It's not even like
It's material.
like I
Yeah,
said,
it's material.
the Delta Flyer is the only printer that I've kit that I've gotten. Um, I'll, I'll reach out and say, hey, I'm working on this project. Would you be interested in sponsoring the filament for the project? Right.
If it makes you feel any
Um,
better, the only company that ever directly reached out to me was Bamboo, and it was because my community made a huge fuss about the A1, and they wanted to see an A1, and I've got 3,000 or 4,000 hours on my A1 now, something like that.
yeah.
But other than that, everything else is me reaching out to them. So don't feel bad. It happens to all of us.
Well, yeah. I I'm just saying like that's not where the channel makes any money, and not a single dime of any money that the channel has made has gone out to anything other than just back into
Yeah,
projects, right?
Yep.
parts.
Your addiction.
So I just spent because I get barely over that minimum YouTube payout threshold every month. So it's not a huge payout. And then AliExpress is either the same or a little bit more. I spent about double that this month just on camera equipment and studio gear, and I'm trying to throw money back into it, but I'm throwing too much money, I think.
That's my talk. I just had that. I just had that talk. I said, "Oh, my cameras aren't great. My PC's not great for all this setup. Should I do it?" And the huge outpour from the community was like, "Don't spend all your hard-earned money on updating everything until you get that foothold." Yeah, no, I get you. I
Yeah,
get you,
so
man.
I'm going on a on to an event in April. So April 1st, I'm gonna be at an event. It's not a 3D printing event. It's a LAN party. And
Is that where the
to
wigs are coming in?
We don't have those anymore.
LAN parties? No.
so I'm volunteering at the event, and I've done that for this will be my 11th year volunteering. Um, but I'm going there, and my intention is to make a video at the event. I don't have a sponsor to do anything with. I just want to make a video about the event and sort of try to get the kind of maker part of it, because there's a lot of people that have custom PCs or just fun outfits or a lot of just fun stuff that are printed or laser or sewn or any type of making stuff, right? And I want to go there and make a good video. So to do that, I already have a camera. That's what I'm using right now. I have a camera that can do low light, um, and then I need some sort of way to film walking around an event. So I would need a gimbal. So I just spent 200 and something dollars on a gimbal to make one video. And then I needed more lights, so I had to buy more lights. So right now I'm spending about $1,000 in total just to make that one video.
If it makes you feel any better, I have an event coming up in February that sort of I've been on the debate of. I gotta finish a cosplay for it. It's a big event here in Vancouver. I got I got to finish cosplay, and textiles are not cheap, and I need a camera. And I feel you, man, because I'm not even a YouTuber. I'm just a Twitch guy, a live streamer,
Yeah.
and there's no sponsorship for it. There's no help on it. I don't even think I'm going to get the door from the event, so I'll have to pay out of pocket for the door. I feel you, man. And it's like I really want to do it because it's like there's so many cool things and there's so many cool creators here in Vancouver. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel your pain though. Wow, a grand, eh?
Yeah, so the grand, that is traveling to the event back and forth, and then I have an option to sleep for free,
Oh,
but
nice.
it's not a good option. And
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
so
No, no,
yeah, so
it's fair. It's
we've
fair.
booked an Airbnb instead, just because
Sure.
health is more important than free.
Yeah,
Um,
Airbnbs are pretty great.
yeah, and
Girlfriends
then
tend to frown on sleeping with ex-girlfriends, so
and then so I'm bringing. I've done this because the part of my job at the event is to be there for other volunteers. So I'm my job is to take care of the volunteers. I don't actually do anything about the event. My job is to take care of the other volunteers. And there's like 350, 400 volunteers.
Wow.
So the
what's the
last
name
like
of this land party?
the gathering.
The Gathering. That's what I thought. I've heard of
Yeah.
this.
So every year, so the last 4 years, I've been printing gifts to give to every single one of them,
Aw.
and that's all out of pocket.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so now I'm printing these guys.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, focus. There we go. So they're little keychains. There's a keychain hole right there, and then you can put your phone in it, and the
It's a
keychain
camera
will kind
stand.
of yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it'll
yeah.
just hold your phone.
Genius.
So it's a simple little gift, but I need to print 400 of these. Um, so this year I was lucky enough that someone else so that's part of my little group of people. We're 20 something people doing this part. Um, One of them, he was there last year and he got really excited that the fact that I brought a printer. I took two printers with me. And so he reached out and said, I want to be with you this year, and then he can bring his printer, which makes it so that I don't have to bring my printer. I'll probably bring that guy, but
Just because he wants to touch the beard.
yeah. And then he I asked if he could print stuff, these for people, and he said yeah he could, but he doesn't have filament, so I just had to buy him some filament. But I do it because I want to. It's fun. I go there. It's kind of ironic because I'm not an outdoor person. I don't go outside if I don't have to. I don't like people in general. Um,
Yeah, it's
but
hard.
at that event, I'm that's enough for the year. Like that covers me for the year, because there's like I think we're aiming for about 2,000 participants and then about 400 volunteers. That's enough people for me for 1 week, and then I'm out.
Nap time.
Yeah, and so that I can recharge my batteries for next year.
Well, I
When
did.
your land party has a Wikipedia page, you know it's pretty successful.
Yeah,
Well, I did last year. Last year for Anime Con UK, I did. I want to say 200 keychains, both for like producers, staff. I did a bunch of them, right? I did the design and everything for it. I've never even been to the event. I'm in Canada. That's in England,
yeah.
but it is very rewarding. I feel you, man. That's so cool, though. That's you're such a nerd. I love it, dude. I love it, man. You should
Also,
be proud.
I figured because we all the volunteers get hoodies, so we all get the same hoodies. So why not personalize your hoodie? Because everyone gets the same one. So I designed this little guy. So that's just the logo for the event, and it has a hole in it. So you
Oh,
put that on the drawstring.
yeah.
So I've been printing a couple,
A little bit.
a little bit, yeah, and that's all been done on that rook. That's
Nice.
why it's there. So I can swap filaments in about 10 seconds and keep going. But yeah, I just like bringing the whole making thing to people, and this is my way of doing it. So I'm making a as part of my job to take care of people. I'm setting up a movie theater, so I bought a projector for myself that I can bring to the event. um, and then I wanted to make it so that people can vote for what movie they want to see every day. So I had to make a website with a voting system and a whole IMDb API. Yeah.
So you're gonna play Short Circuit, right?
Yeah.
The
He has to
best
get the
robot movie ever made.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about giving to anyone that wants it. And this is my way of doing it, making videos, sharing my models, sharing my ideas, being out there. It's not always glamorous, but it's fun.
I
Well,
think that's
everything that
why
involves me is glamorous.
I think that's why a lot of us got into computers and 3D printing was a natural extension, is because we just wanted to make stuff,
Yep.
build stuff. It's like an interactive storybook, and then now we get to see all those creations come to life in real, 3 dimensions with the 3D printer. It's just natural, I think, for
So
most people that are like
every
this.
year that I've brought a printer, because like the first time I brought a printer, I brought my original Rook, so the fully printed PLA Rook, to the event, and this is 2002, I think.
Oh wow.
Um, so there's a lot of people that never seen a printer and never even seen a 3D printed 3D printer, and that thing. So I brought it with me in a car. I drove down, set it up, used it for a week nonstop, took it back home and kept using it. And people were absolutely fascinated by that. And the amount of people that I got into 3D printing that year, it's a long list, and it's growing every single year that I bring a printer to the event to show people that if you want something cool, you can just print it. And like if what we did last year is we took orders, so we printed these
Oh cool.
badge holders, and I was able to set up a model that I could quickly just change the name and hit print. And yeah, I printed about 70 of those during that week.
That's pretty cool.
So how's the Mark II coming? We want some inside scoop on that.
So the Mark II, which if people don't know, the Rook Mark II, not the Rook 2020. That's the Rook 2020. Um, the Mark II is coming, and the main reason that it's taking some time is that Rolahan changed his mind on the motion system, because the original Rook is Core XY, and that was because when he started working on the Rook, Core XY was like the big thing. It was the new thing in 3D printing, and he wanted to make a tiny Core XY cheap printer. And then he, when we started thinking about Rook Mark II, we both had a list. I gave him my list of things I wanted to do, and he had a list for me. And then or he made the decision to go with HBot instead of Core XY, and that works. There is a functioning prototype of the HBot version right now, but both thought that the better motion system is Cartesian. So that's the new direction for the Mark II. So hopefully we'll be able to, or I'll be able to start building my next week, which is the deal with we have right now. And as soon as I can get that built, I can start working on getting the finished CAD model. So I'll do the same as that I've done with the last couple of printers that we've done, is make a fully functioning, fully detailed model with all the screws and heat sets and nuts and every moving part. And as soon as that
It
is
looks
out,
really nice.
yeah,
The
it
what
looks
he's
like
showing.
a there's no longer that top part and bottom part held together with something skinny. Now it's a whole unit. It looks way better,
Yep.
and it
Man, does
should
that thing look
be.
like it uses a lot of filament though?
It uses about the same, if not a little bit more than the original Rook. So less than 2 kilos of filament. So the Delta Flyer alone is 1.8 kilos of filament. So it's not
are you
too
guys going
bad.
to work with West 3D and Fabrico and all those guys and try to get a kit out?
We haven't talked to them yet. We want to
You got to finish it.
do,
Yeah.
yeah. So because when we did the Rook, we had a finished printer, and then they approached us, and we kind of enjoyed that because it was a lot of fun. And then with the Delta Flyer, we didn't have a finished printer and work with LDO, and it took way longer than we wanted it to take. And not that LDO does something wrong; it's just that um,
The more people you get involved, of course, it's
yeah,
going to take
there's
more
a
time.
lot of moving parts. Everyone needs to
Sure.
get everything together, and then uh, what we want to do now is just make the best printer that we can make, and then we'll see how that goes. We want to get the printer out there to people and let them build it, and then if someone wants to make kits, then we're probably going to see what we can do about that.
Just looking at it, it looks like suppliers like West or KB3D or Fabrico would have a pretty easy time putting together kits for it based on just what they already stock in
Yeah.
inventory.
So most of the parts are already normal parts because we're still using the same uh, MGN9C rails for everything. Um, Instead of having the linear rods, we're doing all rails now. So no more rods at all. Um, Standard hot end extruder, all that stuff. We're going direct drive by default. So the main issue would be we're using carbon fiber rods to extend the motor shaft. So for because the Y motors are in the back bottom, and then they're extended up to the top frame, just to keep the weight low to the base
The balance. Yeah.
to balance it. Because the
Yep.
original Rook is kind of TP,
Top heavy.
which I proved by walking it across the floor. Um, I can do that with this one too because it has the same issue. The motors are hanging off the back of the frame, which makes it unstable. Which
Just
for a
put a
normal
half-inch
build,
steel plate
it's
in the bottom.
I
yeah,
was just
or just
having
do
this
what
discussion
like
about
so.
moving motors to the bottom on a Trident style printer uh, for all wheel drive, moving all four of them
Just down,
down to the
yeah.
bottom, and then having rods that go up.
So
I can't remember what the
Rollon
conversation was
has
for, but
Rollon has already built a cross gantry version of that where there's four motors. Uh, they're all in the base, and then they're just extended up in each corner to the top, and it works really well. Um, there was a mod, or there is a mod of the Rook called the Simplicity. He did that. He put everything in the base, and then it just extended the pulleys to the top with just rods. So we're doing carbon fiber rods. You can do steel if you want to. Just it's easier to get carbon fiber rods in the right length and good enough material. So it's actually the same type of rods that we use on the Delta Flyer arms, just longer.
I'll be right back, gentlemen.
Yep. So hopefully I'll start printing and building mine next week. I have all the parts. I've had all the parts for a couple of months. Um, I just need the files from Rollon.
Slacker. Slacker.
No, he's working. He's got a full-time job. I don't, so I'm going here.
Well, it's like when you're birthing a baby. You don't want
Yeah,
to get it out too early.
it's a lot of work, but it's fun. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun.
Right.
Um, there are moments where I'm yelling at my screen and pulling my hair out, but it's worth it, I think.
Well, I'm excited to see it when it gets released because I think I have all the parts sitting here too.
Yeah, if you've built a couple of V0s or Rooks, or just you have some rails laying around,
Yep.
yeah, The only kind of special thing you would need is the X stepper would most likely be a 22 or 24 millimeter motor, but other than that, it should be. Yeah, it's like the one thing that I didn't have at the workshop was a 20 millimeter motor. I had a 22, and I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna get a 20 millimeter. But they're
I think it would be cool to
$5.
do like a rook size printer, and to eliminate the issue of like that the weight, use those tiny little steppers that the baby belt uses.
NEMA 14s.
I don't even think they're 14s.
And there might be 11s.
Yeah, they're tiny.
Yeah.
Let me go look what steppers that uses.
Yeah, I've been wanting to build something with some smaller steppers embedded into the tool heads, but I haven't got there yet.
That's the one for the nonlinear printer I'm interested in. Is like I'm trying to figure out how to make the like because I want to put it on just one big like bearing, right, and just have the head rotate 180. Originally, it was going to be only 60 degrees, but now I'm like, after I saw the other research that's going on, I was like, man, might as well go 180, right? And it's like the thing is like how do you keep the because I want to do dual Z with a polar printer, right?
Yeah.
And how do you keep the weight down for the acceleration? And that was the thing, right? Is like I'm like, well, yeah, the head can move, that's easy. Then getting to spin, well, I want to put a big motor on top, but like, and you don't need a lot of load, you don't, because it's just you're just rotating a small device on a bearing hub, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, because the way everyone else is doing it is they have the bearing hub and they run a belt. But the less length of belt you can get, the better, because belts stretch, and particularly in the 3D print world, because none of them are nylon or seal reinforced.
The baby
Yeah.
belt looks like it uses those little 5-volt steppers that came with the Arduinos.
I love the baby belt. Alex, you need to get Mr. Mink on here. He is a good dude.
Dude, I want to build a baby belt so bad. I don't want to build it. I want to build it with my kids.
Yeah.
Right. So none of you guys were hanging out today, but all day today we were hanging out in Discord, and my daughter was out here looking for stuff to print, and I've talked multiple times about wanting to get like a bamboo A1 with an AMS, or a bamboo printer with an AMS, right? For two reasons. One, it would be extremely useful to me. But two, it's a system that I can easily teach the girls how to use, right? They can load filament into it. They can go on, they can find a model that, heck, they can even just use the pre-done, just click this and it'll print your model, right? I don't want to do my printing like that. I want to slice my own files. Thank you very much. But for the girls, that's a whole lot easier than scrolling through, figuring out what filament profile, what print profiles they need to use, and all that other stuff. There's a file that'll probably turn out okay if you just hit print on it. Because they're really into the stuff that comes off the printer. They have no desire really to build the printer, but I would make them build the baby belt with me, because I think we could probably get that done in like 2 days. Right. And the little one does enjoy building stuff. The little one, she wants a screwdriver. She's got her own toolbox and bolts, and she
Nice.
bolts
Awesome.
everything together. Right. She loves it. She likes building the Nerf blasters. Right. It's just the length of attention span that a 6-year-old has. Right.
Yeah,
She's not doing, multi-hour streams. You got half hour. But she does really enjoy it.
That's where you need to start do videos instead of just streams.
Yeah, so that was the thing that I was going to do with the next thing that I do with her. Like if we did the baby belt printer, me and the girls, that would be a video, right?
Yeah.
I would just when they wanted to work on it, I would hit record and then I would edit it all together, right? And then just release it as a video. But you know, it's a $300 kit, and getting somebody to sponsor that is hard, right?
Yeah.
And it's not something that I can justify taking out of my own pocket or even out of like the project budget, right? Because its usefulness in the end is limited, right? Viewers that are going to tune in for that versus, tune in for the latest craziness is, it's on a different scale. So it doesn't make financial sense for me to shell out for it.
So
Um,
just because I'm wondering, how many spare stepper motors do you have?
all of
Four?
them.
Do you have four?
Yeah.
Do you have a extruder that could be Bowden?
Yeah.
Do you have an extra printer board?
That I don't know.
Do you have
I
an
just used
extra
my last
pie?
octopus.
Got to
Yeah.
have an old ender board around.
Oh
Everybody.
yeah, I've got an old ender board around.
Yeah. Okay. So you have 90% of the parts you need for a normal Rook build. So you would need 3 rails and 4 rods and some
Yeah.
fans. That's it.
I wonder. I'm on their site right now. They had.
So Rook kits are designed to be simple. That's the whole premise of the project. Make the simplest little printer that we can make. Uh, Mostly printed out of PLA or all printed out of PLA, and make it fun. So like Galio is reminding me, when we did the first batch of LDO kits, we had a teacher reach out to us, and he wanted to do um, a shop class building printers. So they built with one teacher who built his own Rook, and then the week after he taught them how to build 10 Rooks.
Nice.
So one teacher was able to show them how to build it. It took them about 3 weeks to do it in total. And so we had a video call with them after the build.
15 hours.
So it was really impressive, and it does show that building printers shouldn't be difficult.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I think when the Mark II comes out, you're going to see a lot of pink and purple 3D
I hope
printers.
so. I hope so.
And these
Bright
kids,
colors.
I think you're going to see a lot of kids printing those.
So what he did because he printed all the parts beforehand for them. So what he did he made 10 different colored Brooks. So they're all different colors. So that next year he can, or so this year he would be able to just take them apart and use it for the next class. And maybe some reprinting has to be done because well, kids are kind of brutal on plastic parts. Um, and he did print some spare parts where he thought that was needed, and it went really well. They all worked first try, no issues. I followed up with him during this whole process, making sure that he had the best instructions that he could have. So I wrote every single step instead of writing install Clipper. I wrote every single thing that you need to click on and type in and everything,
You did a
and
technical write up.
a full technical write up. Yeah.
It's good.
So after that, I did that for the Delta Flyer as well. So the LDO kit and the for the Rook and the Delta Flyer kit from LDO, they're the pretty much the best documented ones that we have. And then we just recently released the Cappy manual. So the Cappies are a tiny Cartesian belt slinger, and that manual has taken, I want to say, 8 to 9 months to make.
It's nice
Mostly
though.
because it covers every single thing that you would need. If you know nothing about building a printer and you want to build something without a kit, that manual is designed for that. So it'll cover everything. It'll explain why we do what we do, and why you should do how we say you should do it.
That's perfect because I don't even know what a 3D printer is.
That's an
So the
extremely well written manual. I have to say that
Yeah, so the Delta
very
Flyer
professional.
has a temporary manual right now that I wrote, and based on that, we're making a new manual that will be sort of halfway between that Cappy super detailed manual and then this this manual that we already have. But it's being done by a guy that has a professional background in making manuals. So if anyone of you have seen the Haynes guides for cars, it's that style.
Oh, that's
So a lot of
cool.
really good looking manuals. So it's
Haynes
not just
manuals are very
illustrations.
good.
Yeah, so it's not just illustrations and CAD drawings, it's actual pictures, high quality pictures, and yeah.
Is he going to have the new Mark II and the Delta Flyer in that program where you can change all the colors? He has that. Rohan made that CAD
Yep.
program where you can change all the colors. That
Yep.
was really really neat.
Yeah, and you can use that for anything. It's not for just for printers either. You can just import any OBJ into it and just have fun with colors.
Okay, Alex, I love you boys. I'm about to turn into a pumpkin. You know why? Again, Kay, it
Yeah.
was always a pleasure to hang out with you, dude. I can't wait to see the fro. I'm very excited for the fro. John, it was very
Yep.
nice to meet you. You are a very big brain gentleman, and I really appreciate you classing up the joint here. And Alex, you're always a sweetheart, man. Nothing but love. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and thank you everyone for having me. And take care of
Yeah.
yourselves.
For those that don't know, he's off to
Bye bye
start up
bye
his
bye
fifth
bye
stream.
bye bye.
So as soon as we're
Bye
done
bye
here,
bye.
you all can go check that out.
You don't
He
need to
starts right
promote.
about the same time.
You don't need to promote me. I love you guys. Thank you everyone for having me. Thank you, chat. It was also nice to chat with all of you. And again, shout out, boys. Thank you so much for having me. All right, take care, boys.
See ya.
Yeah, and we're all about to call it two. We try to keep it at 2 hours. Um, uh, Down Undermaker said feedback that the heat set diagrams for Delta Flyer are poor
Poor contrast.
contrast.
Yep. And that is noted, and that is being fixed in the new manual.
Um, I think that you last I knew you were still working on like that was kind of a beta manual kind of
Yeah, so
situation.
the Delta Flyer manual that's out now, that was just because of um because we released the Delta Flyer without any manual initially. Before any kits were sent out, we needed something, so I just made a I just opened a document and typed out as much as I could, and then from that I refined it, figured out that it was way easier for me to make a website that I can edit instead of having to resend a PDF to everyone. So instead of doing that, I just made a website and just added more information, and it slowly just became better and better and better. And from having streamers build the printer live, took all that feedback and put it in. Um, there's still some things that we could do better, and we have a list of that, and that is being worked on. So it's coming. It should be late February
I
for the
saw that West 3D has Delta Flyers back in stock. I know everybody was out of stock for a while.
yeah. So
So
we are talking about making another round of kits, maybe some improvements. We're not sure yet, but that's all up to LDO at this point. We also, at least me and Rolahan, want to make sure that people can buy just the bed and the PEI sheet because they're custom. They're fully custom for this. So we want to make sure that people can buy them instead of
For the Rook 2 or for the Delta Flyer?
for the Delta Flyer. The bed for the Delta
Okay.
Flyer is fully custom. That's designed by. So the main concept design was Rolahan, and then LDO refined it into a finished project with the heater and all that stuff. So like the heater that I have on my Delta Flyer is not the same as the kits. Say with Rolahan's builds, we don't have the same heaters. I have a flexible PCB heater that's just stuck on there, and the I think Rolahan has a silicon heater on one of his, and so the first one has a silicon heater, the second one has a flexible PCB heater, and then the finished one has the full PCB heater with a backer and all that stuff to hold it there.
So I've got a recommendation on the Delta Flyer before we go. So right now the bed is bolted to the center parts for which they're printed parts, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it so that I can't print ABS because it's bolted to ABS, and that would probably be a really bad idea. But there's materials that have a higher heat resistance that heating the bed to 110 wouldn't be an issue, right? If I printed those mounts out of PPS, I'm not going to have an issue with them melting, right?
Yeah.
So take those three pieces and have the part that it bolts to that comes out be a separate part that bolts to the ABS part in the front. Right. So
Yeah.
I can print the three mounts and then bolt it to the front skirt, the outside skirts.
Yeah.
I can print those mounts with something that's got, where heat deflection isn't an issue.
That is
Or
something that I can do.
Somebody in
quickly.
the chat was working on a CNC base plate. I saw.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
the what you're talking about, making the part that holds the bed and the frame part two separate pieces, I can do that in
yeah,
20 minutes and send that to you and publish it. That's an easy fix.
yeah.
Um,
If you do
what
that,
I've
I'll
done
put
on
it
mine
on
is
there.
I've just printed the spacer parts in the bottom out of PCCF. So I can do one. I did test my bed to 120 just to test it, and it does do to 120. Um, but yeah, with the flyer, you can put the bed at 85 and still print ASA perfectly fine. Um, even with if you have an ABS frame and put your bed to 85, it'll still print ABS and ASA just fine.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
even
just
a
thinking
little
for the
heat
average
maximum
person
for it.
doing that. Um, it it really opens up what that machine can do because
Yeah,
I went to print some ABS stuff on it and I'm like, oh shit, like it, I got clipper error. I'm like, what? I go and look, oh yeah, it's temp limited. It probably would be a bad idea to heat this bed up that hot.
yeah.
Like, there's no
I
doubt that the bed will go that hot because it's basically the same thing as the V Zeros.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the same spec. The heater in the flyer is just a round version of the V0 bed heater. That's what this whole thing was based on. So the original plan was to use a V0 bed,
yeah,
but then we figured
but
if we made the bed 150 instead of 120, it'll be easier to tie it into the frame in a more stable way. So that's why the
yeah,
bed is 150, but the printable area is 120.
yeah. I think it's actually limited to 115 or something in
Yeah,
the
there's a
machine
little bit
call.
of safety there because if you go too fast on a 120, the arms will bind up and cause issues. So we set it to
Yeah.
115 in the slicer and also in the clipper config just to stop it from failing on people. But
I'm sorry, I didn't use your clipper stuff. I went in and took and told Orca Slicer that it was a V0 with a round bed, and just made my that way I because for and this isn't your fault. This is Orca Slicer, right? I can use my filament profiles. I can tell Orca Slicer I don't care. Let me use the same filament profiles across any manufacturer machine.
Yeah.
But I can't tell it to let me use my print profiles across any manufacturer of machine. So I've got to go in and tell it every single one of my printers is a boron.
There is a way around it, but you'll have to go into the actual file and edit the texts in the file to make that work. But it's a lot of work.
Oh, in Orca Slicers
Yeah,
itself? Yeah.
Bamboo does it
I
the
don't,
same way. You have to edit the actual config file for the in the file explorer and do it that way, so you can set it up.
it seems like something that's completely unnecessary.
Yeah, there should be a way for you to just tick, I want to see this, and
Yeah. They do it in
that's
the
it.
filament profiles, right? It's on me. I click the button,
Yeah.
right? Give me a button to click. Please. For the love of God. Stop.
The Delta Flyer does have some nice clipper configs, though. I had to steal those for my monoprice mini Delta and use that because I converted that to clipper, and so I have
Yeah,
to say you guys did a lot of nice work there.
all this software for the flyer, that's all me.
Yep, that's nice. The only thing I would suggest, and I've watched a bunch of Delta Flyer builds, is that you go back and find some of the. I had an Anycubic Castle, and they all had the 3D printed um, tensioners instead of the rubber bands. Everybody's complaining about rubber bands, but
Yeah.
we've had we had 3D printed springs that we clipped onto those
Yeah,
since
so
2018.
we never intended to send out the rubber bands with the kits, but we found out that there is a tiny bit of play in those joints, but I couldn't see a difference with or without rubber bands. So they are there for you to use, but you don't need them.
You could just 3D print the springs. I mean, that
Yeah, but
was
you don't even need that.
right.
The printer works just fine with the stock setup without the rubber bands, and it just works.
Yeah, because it's so
Because
small. It's not like
I have the arms right here actually. I have the original arms and the MP Jet arms, the more expensive version, and I can't find any difference between prints. So I printed, I think I printed 4 models with the original arms, and then swapped to the upgraded arms. And also I did the original arms with the rubber bands, and there's no difference in print quality at the highest speeds that I can do on this. But they were added as a safety just because we wanted to make sure that if anyone had any bad joints, because there is a risk that someone has a one bad joint, the rubber bands would just fix all that, and it's more of a safeguard. And yeah, so if you don't like to put the rubber bands on, you don't need to. I don't think anyone's going to notice a difference unless they have one really bad joint. But out of all the beta testing, there was a total of 4 kits sent out for beta testing, and then Rollerhound has built 2 or 3. They're all None of them had issues with the joints, so they're not as good as my MP Jets, but they're not far off.
I never noticed the difference when I put those little 3D printed springs on my arms. I guess that was because some people don't build their printers as well as others.
Yeah, so the
This
whole
is a
purpose
true
of
story.
the whole purpose of the springs is that on deltas are really sensitive to any change. So if there's a tiny bit of play anywhere in the mechanics of it, that will show up in the finished product. And the rubber bands is there to keep tension on the arms. They're not there to tighten up or drag or move anything. They're there to make sure that the joints can't default to one setting, and then when you move, they will default to another setting. They would just keep it default to one setting all the time. And back before the using springs or rubber bands or printed clips or whatever is it's a way to fix bad joints pretty much. So if you have good joints, you don't have to put any tension on there. So it's there for safety. I don't use them. I tested them, but yeah,
I think that was like half of the debugging back in the old Ender 3 days is the people would make these little hacks to kind of fix problems that other people didn't have.
yeah,
And you're like, why am I printing this? This didn't do anything for me. And it was because they didn't have their printer set up correctly.
yeah. You can fix a lot with just tuning. But so
Yes.
far, all of the content creators that built the kit on stream, they all worked first try, and we take that as a huge success. So, and actually
Oh yeah.
today
Do you know how hard that is?
I just saw that Canuck creator today he's on his stream just took out the Delta Flyer and just printed with it, and it just works. He printed an ASA part and just works,
Nice.
which is what we wanted to do. We want it to be a printer that is fun to build and also is fun to use. We
You
never
got your
that printer
intended
biggest
was
to
so.
challenge,
be.
though.
I
Down
don't
it.
think I would ever recommend someone have a Delta Flyer as their only printer. That would be a big loss. But
You have your
Yeah,
biggest
they should
challenge
probably have
yet.
a printer to print the parts for it at the very
yeah,
least.
Because Down Under Maker is full steam ahead on his. So
yeah.
if he can
I
do
need
it,
to
anybody can
remember
do it.
to tune in on his stream.
Yes.
I mean, I have mine right there. I'm touching it right now. So, and I have a rook.
Yep.
Plus, it's a fun one. People like to watch it.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been excited to see everybody that's I see all the serial number requests coming through, but you don't get to see everybody building them, so it's really nice to see people build them.
Yeah. The serial stuff is kind of the most fun for me, just seeing everyone's build. I saw someone posted one today. Actually, they've printed their entire flyer with either really good fuzzy skin settings or it's all carbon fiber or glass filled. It looks really good. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
kind of
I
fun
hope
seeing all the different printers.
I
I
hope we
look at
get to the same as the Rook, where people just go crazy on doing stuff with it, because that's what we're all about. Do stupid stuff.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for coming and hanging out. We're gonna call it here. We're over time. Everybody in chat, thanks for showing up and hanging out. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. There's some new folks that I've seen tonight in chat, which is awesome to see. Love it. And yeah, it should be a link for Discord in the description as well. For those new folks, you can get notifications. We do this podcast every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then I normally do 2-3 live streams a week, building printers and stuff on the channel, working on whatever project, I guess. But so come back for that. See y'all later.
Bye-bye.
bye.